Okay, let's go.
So, okay, I have to tell everybody who you are, right? Because nobody has a clue who you are. This is my auto insurance agent. Okay, this is Ryan. He's awesome. And anyway, we became friends because our sons play rugby together, which, by the way, I didn't even know anything about rugby until a couple of years ago. Did you grow up with rugby?
No.
You know anything,
If
right?
I did, I think I would have played it.
Really? Yeah. It's
I
a
mean,
fun sport.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
I mean, I grew up watching football, and I enjoy football just as much as the next person. But rugby is so entertaining. Like for me, anyway, I'm like, it is like. At first, I'm like, there's no way I'm letting any of my kids play this game. I mean, it's insane, but they have so much fun doing it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how big you are. I mean, it's about technique.
Right. Yeah, and it's nonstop. Football, there's a lot of stoppage, right? The average football play lasts usually 4 or 5 seconds. Rugby, it's ongoing. I mean, there's no real stoppage unless there's an injury or when they do a line out, which the field is much bigger than a football field.
Right.
A lot more action. It's 15 on 15.
Yeah.
There's no pads. Guys will wear the cap, but that's just so their ears don't get chopped up
or they don't mess up their hair.
Yeah. It is. It's a great sport. I love it. I'm excited for. We got a whole season in front of us, so it'll be fun.
Another thing about Ryan that I love, you guys have like the coolest swimming pool area in your backyard that I've ever seen. Like my kids still rave about it. Ryan invited us over, come hang out, one day. And we're like, let's go hang out at the Brinton house. And man, it was so much fun. Like it's got a high dive, thing that's like a rock, cliff you can jump off of. And it's got a grotto, for the hot tub. I mean, this place is legit. Like it's amazing.
Yeah. We bought it 4 years ago. The guy that we bought it from was a custom pool builder. And so, he built himself a pretty cool pool. Now the insurance guy in me is kind of freaking out because I see liabilities everywhere,
Sure.
The diving and whatnot. But no, it's been great. My wife always wanted a pool. I grew up with one, and, the maintenance and just dealing with pool stuff is never fun. But then, I'm the kind of guy, our family, we like to bring people together. And so if you go to any of my siblings' homes, there's always something there that is meant to not only just entertain the family that lives there, but to bring people together. Yeah. And so that's been awesome for us to get neighbors and friends and family over for parties and events and whatever to hang out.
It does that, no doubt. So I have a question for you, because I think that this would be actually relevant for several of the people that, we have a team of people that we try to help and support as much as we can, but I get as much out of it as anybody in terms of education. And so something that I think would be interesting is to talk a little bit about your background as a businessman, right? As a business owner, because here you have this great business. I mean, you've told us a little bit about, kind of your story and how you came up with this, and how you got to be where you are today. But I think maybe like here we have Christmas time. Let's look at it this way. It's Christmas coming up, and I want to give everybody a gift. You know what I mean? And so what I want to give them is a recipe for success. And so here is Ryan. He's got if you could say, hey, look, here is your recipe for success. If you want to be successful in business, life, whatever, what are maybe some of the lessons that you've learned that go into that successful recipe? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, great.
So
question.
maybe first of all, tell them about what you do, and then we'd love to hear more.
I've always been entrepreneurial minded. When I was 11 years old, my buddy who was 12 at the time, we got together and we created Edgemont Lawn Care. We made some flyers and we passed them out to the neighborhood. Grabbed my dad's riding lawnmower, which was nice to have, and we had weed eaters and blowers and edgers, and we would go out and we had 6, 7, 8 lawns that we would mow.
6, 7. Just kidding. I shouldn't have done it. Dang it! Why did I do that?
On a daily basis, we're knocking out 1 or 2 lawns a day and getting paid $20-$30 every time. And I love the idea of just creating, having someone hand me money on something I created on my own, right? My own labor, my own product, whatever it is. I love that idea. And so at that age, I really had a taste of what it was to be an entrepreneur and to just create work rather than just somebody hiring me and paying me, trading all hours for dollars. Yeah. I liked me being able to create my own thing and charge what I felt was, fair market value and provide a service for clients. And then, I parlayed that into, I started doing some carpet cleaning. I worked for my brother-in-law doing restoration. That taught me really hard work and some other responsibilities. When I would be done cleaning carpets at a house, I would knock on, 3 or 4 doors. Hey, I'm here. It's cheaper if you do it right now versus me having to set an appointment, come back. I'll clean your car. I'll clean your rug right there, your stairs, whatever. And I would, generate business that way. But eventually, that's not good for the back and it's
Right.
very physically demanding. So I started doing some phone sales, working in a call center over the phone, calling leads, things like that. And eventually it turned into, I got into insurance. And I think, what really motivated me to get into insurance is this is during the housing crisis, 2008. We
Right.
were all there.
Yeah.
That
was brutal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those tough times. And I was affected through what I was doing. The leads dried up because the industry we were selling was real estate coaching, real estate mentorship, people who wanted to get involved in investing in real estate. And of course, that kind of dried up. And I thought, what's an industry that really becomes unscathed by a dire economy? And insurance was at the top of the list. My neighbor sold insurance and did very, very well. And it was always something I'd kind of looked at. So long story short, I got into it and it's been awesome. And to answer your question, what's brought me the success that I've had, I'm not smarter than anybody. I'm not, the best looking guy or the best, talker, or, sales to me is not smooth talking. It really comes down to, it's a contact sport. You got to hustle. More contacts you make, the more sales you're going to make. And I feel like what I did or do better than most that come into the same industry with the same companies and the same opportunities is I just outwork them. Where I was buying leads, I'd max out my credit card, $5,000 in a month, buy, hundreds of leads, make $10,000, pay off the credit card, keep the difference, use other people's money as leverage to invest in my business. And then I would dial those leads 6, 7, 8, 9 times a day, each lead, until they answered the phone and gave me either a yes or a no. And over time, I was able to, get a lot of referrals from the business I generated. And now I really don't spend, anything on advertising. Although I did start doing some radio advertising with KNRS. One of my buddies is the sales manager there. And so if you ever listen to AM radio, talk radio, you can get some of that. But honestly, it really, any industry, in my opinion, it boils down to just hustle, just outwork everyone else, first in, last out, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Something that, I'd heard from another guy just recently in a podcast we just did. And they said that the fortune's in the follow-up, for them, which is that they're making the contact. So you're talking a lot about this. Look, you got to work. It's not going to just come to you. It doesn't just happen and show up at your doorstep. You got to make that kind of thing happen. But the key to longevity for them was kind of in the follow-up phase too. In other words, being diligent. Do you find that's also the case in your business too? With, hey, look, it's one thing to make the contact. Now you got the lead, and they may even be interested. You're not following up. They're not going to do anything with you anyway, right? Don't you feel like that's part of that too?
Yeah, for sure. My dad was always someone who taught me not to ever procrastinate, to always just get it done, because it needs to be done. And I think in a business sense, when you make a contact with somebody and maybe they got other things going on, it's important to follow up. It's important to just stay on it, not be overbearing, but just make sure you're following through, following up, and not letting a lead or an opportunity go to waste. And again, that just all fits in within hustle, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's the initial contact, the follow through, or even just finalizing the deal, you gotta. It's not. I wouldn't call it an art. It's just a work ethic type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. If you're mowing lawns, yeah, you mow the lawn, but what about the edging? What about the leaves? If you see something out of place, even though it's not on the list of, here's what the homeowner wants done, you see something out of place, go ahead and take care of it. If there's some weeds in the cracks of the driveway, we would pull those out. The homeowner didn't ask us to do that, but that's just part of the follow through process in doing what needs to be done.
Yeah. I like that, like the value add. You know what I mean? Like what sets you apart. And I totally agree. I'm willing to pay even more money for a company because of their reputation, because they're so good at what they do. You know what I mean? It's not always about like paying the least amount of money. Sometimes it's about the quality of work that you know what I mean? And so how does that tie into maybe your relationships with people? Because the reason that like I like hanging out with you is because you are that people person. And it's not because, even if it's natural for you, isn't really the point. It's that you make the effort to become a friend.
So even in the sales process or in any kind of relationship, you want to start by building that relationship of trust. Find something about that person and then use that as whether it's a conversation starter or through the sales process. In sales, they call it build pain, right? So I own a tire store. Someone comes in, hey, what's wrong? Well, my tires, they suck. And then you kind of go off of that. Okay, why do they suck? What's going on? And then you use that in the sales process, to offer a solution. So whether it's insurance, hey, I'm paying too much. Cool. Okay. I'm going to find you a better deal. And then when you get to the close, when you get to the end, it's, I'm saving you money. That's what you wanted. sign here, right? And with a friendship, it's the same thing. If you have a friend who's into something, then you want to use that. Like, hey, I'm into that too. You and I share some of the similar things. We both like sports. We both like sales. We're into some of the same music, things like that. And so when we get together, that's something that's on my mind. Is, hey, Mike and I like these things. Let's stay in those. I'm not going to sit here and talk to you too much about things that you're not interested in that I am, because then and maybe if the opportunity presents itself, but I think in building relationships, you got to build that relationship of trust, and then, just go off of that.
Yeah. It's not that you necessarily have to be best friends, but I like that idea of that you have something that solves something, you know what I mean? And in our business, it would be health related, you know what I mean? I have an issue and I'm like, oh, tell me more about that. Let's see if we can, find something that might solve that for you. So I love that too. So let's, I think this is a funny story. I got to tell this story. So Ryan and I, we are in Montana. We're in Bozeman, Montana, and we didn't know each other. I mean, we only knew each other for like that time. That's when we first kind of really met. Right? Yeah. And we're at a rugby tournament, and we're sitting there talking. And my wife is sort of talking about like insurance and insurance rates and all that kind of stuff. And she was saying that like, look, we had this other guy who we had this insurance and he was just kind of crummy and whatever. And it just seems like he was a crook and he totally racked up our rates and it was just a mess. It was a racket. And all of a sudden we connected the dot, and we had said like, no, the guy that we have now is great. We like him,
he's all right.
He's okay. and then all of a sudden we connected the dots like, wait a minute, our insurance guy's name, Ryan. Wait, Apex Insurance, that's your company, Apex Insurance? And sure enough, so not even knowing that Ryan was our current real estate or insurance guy, and we connected the dots on it. So it was actually kind of funny. And I remember you saying something like, I'm sure glad that you liked it. Otherwise, like that we got along okay and the insurance was good, because this would have been an awkward conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh man. I mean, that could have been bad. But it's funny. My dad, growing up, I grew up in Provo. My dad was an OBGYN, and he delivered a lot of babies in the 80s and 90s. And as I was getting older, I would start dating, and I'd go on a date with a girl and pick her up, and she'd be like, is your dad an OBGYN? Yeah. Oh, he delivered me, and I would get that kind of thing a lot. And, my kids, of course, probably don't run into that as much, but that was a unique situation where we had already established, and I think it was Christy I was dealing with more than you. I don't know if you and I ever spoke in that whole process, but I'd set you guys up maybe just a year before, if that. Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah. So it's pretty funny. It's a small world. So I think maybe one other quick question. What are the things that, like, from your perspective, because you're how old?
45.
Yeah. You and I are pretty close. I mean, you are a young whippersnapper compared to my age, 2 years older. But I mean, like, what are the things that as a male, 45, mid 40s, that interests you today? You know what I mean? Like that you're like, stop on this. Let's pretend, you're scrolling and you're like, stop on this because I'm interested in that. Is it health related? Is it mindset? Is it, business? Is it family? Is it, what are the things that are at your age right now that you're dealing with in life that are the most important to you that kind of catch your attention?
The last few years, it's been retirement planning, kind of like planning on, okay, what am I doing next? And so, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is finance. So I follow a lot of finance, guys who talk about, what to do with your money, how to get your money to work for you, and making sure you don't make dumb mistakes. So I follow a lot of finance guys. I like that. It's always interested me, and as far as, just when you make money, how do you keep it? What do you do with it? And so I do that a lot. Obviously, politics, you can't help but get into politics a little bit. I'm not too political, but I like to just know what's going on. I'm not someone who's just all in on one side or the other and start bashing the other side and all that stuff. I like to see what's going on. I like to know, what is our president doing? What is Congress doing? What kind of laws are going on? What's our local and state? We just got a new mayor in Riverton. I want to know more about her and what her plan is, how she's going to, we've got a new park that we're looking to build. I want a dog park. So I've been kind of, getting involved there, mostly through social media and talking with these people to try and get my community to fit my agenda, which I am a dog owner. I want a dog park. Yeah. So things like that, every once in a while, just humor. We both like comedy and so, following, different comedians, trying to get a good laugh. So it really depends on the day. I'm into golf. So there's a lot of golf guys out there that show different swing tips and different courses they play and the equipment and all that kind of stuff. And boy, once you get into something like that with golf, it's like your entire feed is just like, oh, you like golf, and it's just one guy after another after another. So it kind of depends on the day, but I think overall those are my social media likes. I don't get into some of the other stuff that people do. I'm not into fashion. I'm not really into entertainment, movies, or just scrolling just to scroll. I usually have something that I'm
specific.
looking. Yeah.
You and I had kind of a conversation back at the pool party. And you were talking a little bit about these greens that you're taking and like, sort of your journey to better health and those kinds of things. You're talking about like, ways that you're eating better. You know what I mean? Hey, I've changed my diet a little bit. Like I can't have certain things and I want more of this thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel that, as you've gotten older, that your health has become more of a priority where like when you're a kid, who cares? You can do whatever you want. Like, is it taking a toll now?
Totally, man. I'm so glad you brought this up. At the beginning of the year, my wife and I were not big, New Year's resolution people, but this year we said, this is the year we're really going to focus on our health because health is wealth. It doesn't matter if you have billions of dollars. If you don't have your health, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Can't enjoy it. Yeah.
Exactly. And so our kind of our theme this year was, what does 75-year-old Ryan want 45-year-old Ryan to be doing right now? That's been our theme. And just to talk about Chantel real quick,
Chantel's your wife, right?
Yep. She's gotten into Pilates. And I'm telling you, my wife going to the gym was like not her thing. She doesn't like being looked at. She doesn't know what to wear. She doesn't even know what to do. She's like, I just don't know what to do. And I'd go and take her and do this. She's not into weights. She's not into cycling or CrossFit. Those things just don't interest her. There's one thing that's always interested her, and that's Pilates, which is kind of like yoga. It's like balance and, fine tuning different muscles and things like that. It's not, heavy lifting. It's not breathing heavy, doing 20 pull-ups or anything like that. Dude, she joined Club Pilates in South Jordan. Dude, she sometimes goes 3 times a day.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Each session is 50 minutes. I've never, in the 18 years I've been married to my wife, never, ever thought that she would be as dedicated to something in fitness as she is Pilates. And it's been amazing. She's, it's not how much you weigh, it's the composition. And she just, maybe she may have lost a few pounds, but like she feels better, she sleeps better, she moves better. Things don't hurt her as much. She always kind of had a tweak back or a tweak neck. Those things have pretty much resolved themselves. So it's been incredible. And for me, it's been, I went to a health and wellness nurse practitioner who can prescribe medication, do all that stuff, because doctors, and like I said earlier, my dad was a doctor. So I have respect for doctors to a certain point, but they become legal pill pushers.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, you have a headache, take this pill. Oh, your liver is not functioning well, take this pill. And it's like, well, what's causing that?
Right.
Right. And so I went to this nurse practitioner. She took my blood and we identified all the issues, right? Okay, Ryan, you're borderline pre-diabetes. You've got high cholesterol. You've got this. And then she put me on a vitamin pill regimen and nothing, everything you can go buy in Walgreens. Now I like more quality ingredients. So I get it from an online pharmacy that she trusts. Got on something that boosts testosterone a little bit. And I just got my blood test results maybe 3 weeks ago and compared them from when I first started. Oh my gosh, dude. Night and day difference. And really what spurred this whole thing, other than just being healthy, is I went and got a CT scan on my heart. Basically an MRI for your heart, and it shows how much calcified plaque you have in your heart. And if you're above 400, like go to surgery right now, get a stent, take care of it. Mine was at 200. And it was kind of spread out all over. Like my brother-in-law got the same test a couple of months ago, and his was all just in one artery. And so he had to get a stent in that artery. Mine just kind of spread around. And basically what that told me was, if you don't start taking care of your heart right now, then you're gonna have major problems. Yeah. And so that's what, made me want to go to, her name is Keena, go to Keena and get my heart, better through losing weight and exercise, of course. But then there's other things, there's certain supplements and things you can do to take care of your body. And I'm telling you, I feel better. I sleep better. I have more energy. And I haven't gotten another CT scan on my heart, but my blood tests have shown dramatic improvement. And I wasn't like bad.
Right.
It was just like, this is elevated. This is not a good.
Well, the trajectory was not going the right way.
Right.
Now you change that trajectory.
If you keep this up, you're going to have problems when you're in your 50s and 60s. And getting those results back and seeing the difference. Oh my gosh, dude. Like, and I lost, 15 pounds. I wasn't like trying really hard. I wish I could be, slimmer, but it was just a combination of a lot of things. But having my blood looked at and having all these markers identified and seeing the things I need. Okay, hey, you're really good with this, but you need to work on that, and then getting the right pills, and then just taking care of myself in that way. Oh my gosh, dude, I'm stoked. It's been awesome.
We talk about health span versus lifespan. We especially within doTERRA, with the company that we're affiliated with, this lifespan versus health span. Lifespan being that, let's say that, your life is going to end at age 90. Let's just say, okay, so that's your lifespan. But your health span is where your health starts to decline. You're going to die at age 90 no matter what. Ultimately, what you want is your health to be as optimal as possible until you turn 90, right? You're out, riding horses and fishing and golfing and whatever, and you're 90 years old, and then one day you just fall over dead, right? Yeah. Versus this gradual decline and degrading of your body and health. So you're going to die at 90, but you're in a wheelchair. So your quality of life isn't that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the point is like, we're so worried about like how much longer we're going to live. Those are factors, but I would rather live a healthier life and still die at the same age. From a men's perspective, we're so hard on our bodies. I mean, think about it. When we're kids, I just had my nose fixed because it was broken when I was a kid. And what did I do about it? Nothing. I didn't do anything. I
just rub some dirt on it and move along.
Yeah,
right?
I'm just like, ow, okay, we're fine. Put a Band-Aid,
Yeah.
And so now I have to like get this fixed so I can breathe a little bit better. And we're hard workers. Typically, that's just how that is. That's the guy's way. We play hard, we work hard, whatever, and we tear our bodies up, but we don't take care of ourselves. And then we go home. What do? We eat junk, because it just tastes good. And we're barbecuing things and we're doing whatever. And it's not that some of that stuff isn't okay, but it definitely takes a toll if that's all you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
So finally you get to this age, and I'm finding mid 40s-ish, and then that's the part where you have heartburn and you can't sleep well. You know what I mean? And your knees are achy when you get out of bed, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, I need to take care of myself, and then we make that transition. Dude.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's what I keep thinking about. It's okay. What does 45-year-old Ryan need to be doing 75? But it really starts with prevention, right? Our healthcare system, it does not incentivize prevention, right? There's no money in prevention. There's no money in. Well, I mean, if someone needs supplements, yeah, there's money in that. But where the big money is where the pharmaceutical companies come in and get you hooked on, the pill or the shot or whatever that doesn't cure the cause. It just
it addresses, it's a Band-Aid. It addresses the symptom, but it doesn't like solve the root cause.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the opioid epidemic. Like what a tragedy. And people were focusing on curing, masking the pain through opioids. Well, what's causing the pain? How do we get the pain fixed? And I think, whether it's oils, whether it's nutrition, whatever it is, to me, I think that's a lot easier than trying to, fix something that's broken rather than just not letting it break in the first place.
Yeah. Yep. Totally agree. Well, I appreciate you coming in for a little bit and hanging out. And I mean, I love doing these things. I mean, because it's always the best people that come in here and we get to have good conversations. So for those that don't know, pretty soon Ryan's going to be on his own. Like he's doing this. Like he wants to do some video, some recording podcasts, and he's going to have an amazing show that I'm excited for everybody to tune into. So look for that. We'll put a link out there eventually. Anyway, and I don't even know what you're gonna call this thing, but it's going to be like the family tree, whatever. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we've got to come up with a name, but yeah, the idea is to document. We've got a big family. I've got 5 sisters, a brother, my mom. My dad passed away a few years ago, and it'd be nice to get some people in a studio, have a conversation like this, document people's lives. Everyone has a story, right? And everyone has a fascinating life that they've lived and some thoughts and different philosophies about life and whatever. And I think when we sit down and have these discussions, it's really neat to hear that come out and learn things about people that can maybe help us. Maybe hopefully there's something that I've shared or that you've shared that somebody can hear and say, oh my gosh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. And then they can use that to improve their life. And so that's the concept.
Yeah. I love it. That's awesome.
Okay, let's go.